Hi everyone, it's Melissa of Happy Planning Bunny, and I am here to share my very first plan with me in my memory planner. So, what I usually do is I print my photos using a Canon selfie. I find that it is the cheapest way to print, and as well as the photos actually come out looking really great. It looks like they were printed professionally. So it's not very mobile and it stays in the study at my desk at home. But I find this suits my needs because I don't really go on vacation and need to print the photos right then and there. I find that I can just wait until I get home. I make my little photo collages and then I can just quickly print the photos. And the nice thing is, it's actually printing through Wi-Fi. So I can be sitting on the couch and I make my little photo collages and I can just send it to the printer and I can just get it when I'm finally ready to memory plan. So I'll be doing a video later on talking about how I use the selfie and how it works well for my memory planning system. So stay tuned for that video. So what I usually do is I print four 2x3 photos in one 4x6 sheet, and the ends come off. I'll show you more on that, and then I just chop up the photos according to the little seams. I was actually able to finally order the big Happy Planner Punch, so I am going to be picking that up fairly soon, and in a couple of weeks when I memory plan, I'll be using that punch, so I will no longer need to use little paper trimmer. But generally, that is a very easy, inexpensive way if you don't have the punch to just use a paper trimmer, or you can just use a pair of scissors. Although I know myself, I really don't cut very straight. So I find that the paper trimmer is very useful to help me actually cut the photo straight, and so that none of the other photo right beside it will actually come with the photo. So, what I usually do before I memory plan is during the week, as I take my photos, I will actually look at my memory planner and kind of do a pre-visualization, as you can see on the page right here. So, I will write the kind of photos that I want to put in each square. And even if I have a specific sticker in mind, I will just write sticker across two boxes, like what I did. So I do that, and that I can actually look at the page before I even print my photos, and I can kind of have a good idea as to where I want to lay the photos and where I want to put them down. And I find that this really helps when it's finally time to print the photos and to start memory planning, to have a visual idea of where I want the photos to go and where I want to place big stickers, and I just find this really makes the process easier. So this week I knew I wanted to use that big sticker on the top left, the One Happy Life. And I wanted, what I usually do in terms of building any spread, the memory planner or the classic or the mini, is I usually pick one sticker and I kind of build my spread around that. So this week I knew that I wanted to build off that One Happy Life sticker. So I had a place for that in mind as to where I wanted to put it on my spread, and I knew that I would kind of work around that. What I usually like to do is to leave these squares open that have lines, because I find that makes it very easy for me to journal, to write a little note as to what was happening in each of the photos. But I do cover it from time to time, and I just try my best to write freehand and to write straight. I've actually drawn lines from time to time with rulers, but I don't really like the look of it because I can never get the spacing the way that they actually look on the lines. Now, in terms of using a memory keeping planner versus using one of the dated big planners, I've actually been thinking a lot about this, and I find I really like using the happy memory keeping planners because I love the little sidebars on the left. I like how there's places to journal, places to put the photo of the week, and I find these prompts to be really helpful in terms of my memory planning. Now, I suppose I could do all of that in a dated big planner. It is somewhat uh, it is somewhat of a pain, let's say, to have to date it every single week, but I actually like that process of it. Lots of pretty fun stickers in order to date the tops of the pages with. So this is not such a big deal to me, and I actually kind of like dating the undated planners. But I do see the allure of having a solid memory planning dated planner so that the color schemes would be consistent throughout the year. So I do see the pull of doing it that way. But next year, I don't foresee myself actually working in a dated big memory keeping planner. I really like the system and I like how it's undated. I like how I can potentially take weeks off and then pick it up again. Although for the past 7 months, I haven't really done that. Even though there's been certain weeks I haven't taken a lot of photos, I find I've still kept up with it. So I guess in theory, I could work in a dated big planner since I do consistently memory plan every single week. So I usually start by gluing down my photos. I find that I do that based on where I had kind of written where I want them, and I work around where I want the photos, and then I figure out where I'm going to be placing my quotes and my embellishments around the photos. So this is a really useful tip for me. I don't know if everyone likes to do it this way, but this is how I like to do it. There's really no right or wrong way. The nice thing about sometimes putting stickers down is that you can put your photos on top of the stickers, and that can create a really nice layered look. But personally, I find myself, I always put the photos down first, and I'm using the Tombow mono adhesive. It's double-sided tape. It works really well to keep the photos secure and make sure that they're not coming off. So I just take a minute, lay down all of my photos, and what I usually like to do is I will try to balance the page from left to right. So if I put an element on the left side of the page, what I like to do is to balance that by putting a similar element or one of the same type on the right hand side of the page. That way, as the eye travels from the left to right, there's a certain sense of balance. I don't know if this makes sense or if there's any weight to this, but that's how I like to do it. And I find myself when I'm designing pages or when I'm doing a spread, I will usually do an element, a bullet point on one side, then I will try to mirror it or do something similar on the right hand side. How cute is this puppy? I am in love with my friend's dog. His name is Barley. He is so cute, so cuddleable. We met up with some friends to exchange Christmas gifts. I know it's so late in January, but sometimes it's hard to find the time during the holidays, so it's still somewhat feeling like Christmas. And we went for Manny's, which is my favorite self-care thing to do on that Thursday. So usually when I lay down my photos, it's pretty accurate the day of the week, but sometimes this is not always the case because during the week, especially early in the week, I don't necessarily take photos, and I try to have the photos to be fairly organic. I try not to take a photo for the sake of taking a photo just for my memory planner. I try to just, if I see an interesting moment or if I'm having a lot of fun and I want to capture it, that's when I take the photo. I found, I guess, in the beginning of my memory planning journey, I would make sure I took a photo every single day and I would kind of stress and really think about that. But I'm trying to just let the photos organically come. Usually I'll look through my phone at the end of the week on a Sunday and I will see what photos I took and think about how I can build a spread around that. So as I said, see, I have to check to make sure what the previous week was because I have actually misstated this planner and it took me a couple of weeks to realize that. So like I said, that might be the allure of getting a dated big planner for memory keeping versus getting an undated happy memory keeping planner. That way, that's one less thing to think about is actually having the pages dated. So for this week, I left the boxes with lines open. That way I could journal in them what was happening around each photo, making it easier. The dot grid is obviously great for this as well, so it doesn't necessarily just have to be the lined boxes. And I have been having a bit of a rough January, so I am trying to remind myself to stay positive through all of the stress. And I found that as I was working through the spread, I noticed that the majority of the dates above actually had a lot of green. So I kind of wanted to tie more green into this spread. It's what I talk about where sometimes there's a specific color scheme I have in mind when I start the spread, but sometimes as I'm working through the spread or even as I'm dating the pages, different things come to me and I kind of just play off what's already on the page. So I know that there's a lot of florals, and that's why I wanted to add that even though life is hard, life can also be really lovely. So that's why I added the quote and a little, again, I wanted to tie in the pink. That's the pink stripe along the border. So I thought I would use that note to self, especially to remind me to stay positive in the midst of all the January blahs and everything that might be making me feel sad this week. And I also, at the end of it, I really didn't like the way the Sweet Memories sticker looked. I knew that I had another really big floral quote in that Floral Memories sticker pack. So I thought that I would take off that Sweet Memories and actually put on that other sticker. So again, I kind of just placed it lightly and it came off relatively easy. If I've noticed that I definitely do this a lot, I have a tendency to lift stickers if I'm not entirely happy with it. What I usually like to do is I hold up the page kind of at arm's length and I squint and I try to ask myself what elements are missing from this page or how can I make the spread flow better. And I will hold up both sides of the paper left to right and I'll hold it at arm's length and I'll kind of squint at it or place it on the table and kind of look away, then look back at it. And I'll find sometimes I need to take things away, I need to add certain things. That's kind of my process in terms of trying to have a balanced page. And again, this may not work for everybody, but it's what works for me. So, as is a common theme recently, I'm finally using all of the florals that I have, and I have to say it makes me very happy as I flip through my planner, seeing all of these florals that are not just in my sticker book, but are actually in my pages. Again, a little sticker surgery is needed, so I just take my little X-Acto knife and I run it against the edge of the photo, and then I just lift up the tip of that leaf that I do not want covering that tasty salad my husband made for me. And as usual, it comes off with a little bit of struggle. And as I said before, I like the idea of balancing the pages. So I put one half of the flower on one side, the other half on the other. That way they would balance each other out. And I noticed in one of the student sticker packs, there is a square sheet that actually says "Get it done." And I thought that the square box was big enough to write a little note as to what was happening in the photos. So you are going to see that I decide to use that for to cover up the flowers. But first I want to fix up these stickers because I can right away see that they're crooked and it really bothers me when I'm looking at it. So I will go ahead and place, like I said, the Get It Done stickers. I like that the box is fairly big so I can journal kind of what's happening, but I do cover up the get it done with a different message because it has nothing to do with getting it done. I'm just documenting what was happening. And again, kind of what I said, I like to balance the page out on the left to right side. If you like this video, please click like and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you guys have a great day.